Hey y'all, it's Nathan here with the Garrett Racing Team. Welcome back to the race shop and our open wheel modified race car. If you're new to the race shop, welcome. We've got a lot of good information that we're putting out there for you. You should be able to learn a lot of stuff from here, get some entertainment out of it, I hope. And if you're returning, guys, thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all. You are really making the difference for us. Actually, by doing these things and following us and helping us get along, we've got our very first item that I want to review tonight, guys, that was given to me by a business that does race car setup stuff. So if you remember, we did a video probably a month ago on these aluminum setup stands that you see in the back here. I'm not using them right now, from Track Rats, and it's a company out of California. The guy's name is David Christian. He's an awesome guy. He's willing to talk to you about any of this stuff if you have questions on it, how to use it, how to go about setting your cars up on anything, not just the circle track stuff that we do, but road racing. He actually even helps a guy that races in the Ferrari sports car series, and they were just at the Circuit of the Americas out in Austin, Texas, like a week ago. And guys, that was an awesome race. They put on a very nice show. I was able to watch it from my living room on YouTube, so it's a very cool thing to do and see. But anyways, he saw our content on the track stands review that we did, and I guess he liked it so much, he actually sent us something else, guys. So we've got a nice little setup tool here that I want to kind of discuss what it is, how we can use it, and how it can make our lives easier on our day-to-day setups, and at the track, double checking ourselves when we're there if we get any type of wrecks or fender benders or whatever you want to call it while we're there. So it's a good setup tool. So we'll get in here, open it, do a review on this, and kind of show you what it is. You may be curious. So be sure to watch all the way through so you can see how we actually use this thing and get with it here on our race car in our race shop. So guys, again, I really do appreciate it. If you hadn't already, hit that like button, share this video, subscribe, hit that notification bell to let you know every time we get a new video out. And also check out our Garrett Racing Team Facebook page. All right, y'all, let's get in here and enjoy this ride. Thank you. So, you may be wondering, what is this thing and what kind of item did this David Christian give me from Track Rats and what is all this all about? What it is he calls it a string stick. So, anytime we work on these race cars to be at an optimum performance, you want to make sure that your car is square. And I don't mean square as in terms of you've got square wheels or the boxiness or whatever you want to call it, but as you know, a square has 90-degree angles, right? You've got a straight edge and a straight edge that meet, so you've got 90-degree angles. And so what we mean by that is our right side wheels and tires, so our right front and our right rear, we want those things to be in line. We don't want them being out one farther one way, one farther the other. And there's a lot that goes into that, and I can explain that into some very good detail in some later videos if y'all are interested. But the main gist of it is, think about a square. You want everything in line, and again, in line across the front as well. At least I like to do that. I don't really do much lead in my rear end or on the right versus left side. So this right here actually helps you do that. So in years gone past, what people have used is basically, and people still do it, I've actually got a laser system that I use now, but just for the purposes of this video so you can see it, we've got two jack stands, one on the front of the car, one at the rear, and a nylon like builder's yarn. It's like fluorescent pink, just so you can see it very easily. And it's ran all the way down the right side of the car. And the way we do that is take that yarn, make sure it's running parallel with the car, measure across the frame rail, and make sure it's the same distance all the way down. So basically this string is running perfectly straight, parallel with the side of the race car. And from there, we can take and measure our offsets. So in days gone past, people would actually take a tape measure and measure across from their wheel out to that string in a couple different points, front and rear, and that would kind of give you an idea how far these things are sticking out. And also, if the rear end is I would say, cocks left or right, if it's turned, if you're measuring 2 points on that wheel, one would be shorter or further away from the other one. So this is a good way to do that. So to get away from an actual tape measure, what David has came up with is a thing called a string stick. And this is what it is. So it's a piece of aluminum that has a rule on it, and it also has a level. So when you're actually, and I guess you would say a probe as well. So this probe, You have two different ends. I like this point end myself, and you also have this more or less flat edge end, which that might be pretty good for squaring off. Actually, looking at it now, you could put it on there, have a nice flat edge to more or less put against your wheel or hub or whatever you're working with to square off against. But you put it against there, make sure you're looking at it level to make sure your reading is true. And then from there, you can look and see where your numbers line up. So there's different rules that you can get on here. The one that I got, it's a double-sided rule. It has in fractional on one side, so increments of 1/32 of an inch, and then in decimal on the other side in tenths, so 0.1 to looks like 2.5, 2.5. So, and just for y'all's knowledge, 1/32 of an inch is 0.03125 of an inch. I just know that just because my background is engineering, and I know numbers like that all the time. We constantly running fractions of an inches and stuff just because it's units we work in. But anyways, so guys, this seems like to be a pretty nice tool. I've already kind of checked it out over here. Let's get over here and look at it and see how it's going to work. And before we do that, I want to show you one other thing. He sent us some nice decals. These Track Rats decals, guys, very nice. We actually have got I put a couple of them on the side of the car just because he actually donated one of these to us, and these things run about 150 to 200 bucks. So every little bit helps. Again, thank you, David. We're going to use this here at the shop. I'm probably going to use it with my laser system once I get all that finished and set up with your Track Rat stand. So let's get in here and look at that. I'll do a little bit of walk by of the car to show you these stickers and how we've got them on there, and then we'll show you how this thing works. All right? All right, y'all, before we get completely into this thing, let's get around here and show you kind of a little bit of what I did. So I actually put his Track Rats logo on the side of that thing with a cool looking little rat dude cartoon. Pretty neat little art design that he's got up there for his business. And again, guys, he's a small business doing it out of looks like his garage. So it's nothing that he's really trying to kill anybody on prices. So check him out when you get a chance. And we're going to sport him here this season with our racing and stuff. So hopefully we can maybe get a Victory Lane photo sent to him with his logos on there. So anyways, let's kind of go over how you would typically square a car. So again, I've kind of got it just set up here just so you can kind of get an idea. But we've got our jack stands. The good thing about jack stands is normally they're pretty decently heavy. You're not going to move them around unless you kick them or something. You put them down beside the car. And again, go get this like fluorescent looking pink or green string that you would run down the side of a car. And what we would normally do is run our tape measure across to the bottom of the frame rail that you see. Should be black going across there of square tubing. That's normally fairly straight. So you can more or less use that as a reference point for the side of the car to get your, I guess, measurements from. So once you get your string set up, and it takes some time to get all this square. Again, that's why I went with this laser system that I got back here in the back. But you can still use this. It works. It takes some time, but it's like the golden, old-timey proven way to do it. But anyway, normally you would take your tape measure and measure across from more or less from the edge of that wheel here, where it's a flat spot. You see this red pinstripe going across. It's fairly straight across there. It's a good surface to measure from. And normally you would measure, basically, if you could see where my fingers are going, that would be your tape measure, and you'd measure to that string where my thumb is. You go on that side, and again, you do it from this side. Then you'd go to the back. Again, measure from there and there, and make sure all that looks square. If your rear end, like I was saying earlier, if it's cocked, let's say instead of the wheel running true straight, let's say the rear end's turned this way, right? So this side of the wheel would be closer to the string, and that side of the wheel would be further away, right? So to fix it, we've got some suspension components in there that we can shorten or lengthen to help pull that thing around and make it straight. And also, let's say the wheel in relation to the front wheel, let's say it slid out this way. Let's say the front wheel's stuck in. Well, the way these cars are made, you're not really going to make up much on the front end. That's more or less set by the geometry, the wheelbase, and all that. But you can slide these rear ends. They can get slid left or right. So you can, more or less, again, unloosen your suspension components, slide it to the right, make it in line with your front wheel, or again, if it's too far out, slide it to the left. So slide it to the right, slide it to the left. That sounds like a cha-cha slide or something on it. But anyway, that's the way you would do it, just from a theoretical background. I'm gonna actually do it in real life here one day, just to kind of give you an idea of the nitty-gritty of how to do that. But again, to show you how this tool would work, you'd sit it down here on the wheel. Instead of having a tape measure, now you've got more or less a good readout right here that you can look off of. So what I would do is I'd slide this up to get pretty much close to where your wheel would be. Make sure it's on there good and flat. Look at where your bubble is. Make sure that's good and level. Once it is, then you can take a reading, more or less straight up and down. So more or less you take your reading on that side, and then you'd come on this side and do the same thing. Get it close. Make sure you're touching off. Get the top of your string stick close to the string. Make sure your bubble is level when you're inside your marks, and then you get your reading. And that's all it is, guys. And then you go to the front, do the same thing. And I've got to tell you, this is a slick little setup, because a tape measure, it doesn't really fit good against the surface of this outer ring on these wheels. So as you can see, this is a nice, neat little tool. David gave it to me just for making the video on those setup stands back there in the back. I'm going to put a link to that video as well if you're curious on those. They're really nice, made out of aluminum. Real good craftsmanship on that. But just wanted to do a quick video for y'all on an actual new setup tool that I've got. Something that I can keep in my toolbox is a nice go-to quick rule. Seems to be really well made, guys. So be sure to check him out on trackrats.com, and I'll leave a link in the description below if you'd like to check one of these out as well. All right, y'all, that's going to do it for tonight's video in the race shop. I really do appreciate you taking the time to watch it. If you've made it to this point, thank you, thank you, thank you. We've got a lot of good stuff coming out here soon, and I'm probably going to be going to some tour modified races too soon. So guys, I'm really excited. We got a lot going on. It's never ending. I've got so much stuff I want to show y'all, share to y'all, and just let you enjoy this ride with me and my race car as we get better and make this thing better, and more or less just having a good time. So until next time, enjoy the ride, be safe, have a good rest of y'all's week. Thank you.